I tried to throw my mother-in-law the perfect 50th birthday to win over my husband's family. Instead, they told me I wasn't family and uninvited me to my own party. So I hijacked the event, cut them all off, and now we're embroiled in an all-out family war. Lawsuits and all. AITA? I'm Lydia, 26 female, married for just under 3 years to my husband Marcus, 29 male. From the start, it's been obvious his family doesn't like me, though I could never put my finger on why. Marcus has younger twin sisters, Tara and Rhea, 23F, and a younger brother, Henry, 21 male. None of them have shown me any warmth. My mom and dad, Carol, just turned 50, is much the same, cold and distant, though I always told myself I'd find a way to make her accept me. So, stubbornly, I decided to organize a grand 50th birthday celebration for Carol this year. Marcus warned me it wasn't worth the effort. They've never given you a chance, so why keep trying? But I pushed ahead, hoping I could bridge the gap. I'm a huge people pleaser and couldn't tolerate the idea that a whole branch of my family seemed to dislike me over nothing. A few days ago, I began planning. I reached out to Marcus's siblings to involve them. They didn't care at all, telling me to do it myself if I wanted. So I made all the arrangements. I picked one of Carol's favorite restaurants, where she and her late husband used to go. Paid in advance for the food and the whole decor. Oversaw everything myself to ensure it fit Carol's incredibly picky tastes. I even invited all her closest friends, plus a few family members, after asking Marcus who she'd want there. Literally, I paid for everything and arranged every detail with only a little help from Marcus. Her own kids, Tara, Rhea, and Henry, did nothing. Not even a contribution. Yesterday, the night before her birthday, Marcus and I went to visit Carol, even though Marcus said we should just let it be. When we got there, her other kids were already there, looking shocked to see us. After some awkward small talk, I told Carol we'd like to take her to dinner at her favorite place tomorrow. That'd be a surprise party with all her closest people. She smiled at Marcus and thanked him, but he corrected her, pointing out everything was my doing, not his. Instantly, her face soured. I tried to explain all the effort, naming the invitees and food she liked, hoping she'd feel my sincerity. Instead, she pasted on a sugary, totally fake smile and dripping with sarcasm said, "Thank you, but I'm sorry, you won't be attending." I stared at her, stunned. She explained she wanted her 50th to be family only, and though her friends were like family, I was not considered family, and she'd appreciate it if I skipped her birthday. I was floored. Marcus looked equally appalled, and his siblings could hardly keep their laughter in. Something in me snapped. I told Carol to go to hell, and that if she dared to show up to that restaurant, I'd have security escort her out. That finally wiped the smirks off all their faces. She said I was being cruel and cold, and I just laughed and pointed out the irony. She argued back, saying I was in the wrong, but I said flatly that she didn't deserve anything nice and my decision was final. Right before I left, she tried to cry, probably to manipulate me, but I didn't care anymore. Seething all the way home, I tried to cancel the reservation, but it was too late and non-refundable. Marcus was silent, told me I did the right thing, and left to smoke outside. He's never been one to get in the middle of family drama, and frankly, since I ignored his earlier advice, he didn't bother to say, "I told you so." Since the place and food were paid for, I canceled all the original invites, even though it was last minute and annoyed a lot of Carol's friends. Not my problem. Then, I called all my own friends, and Marcus invited a few of his. We threw a rager, stripped Carol's decorations just before everyone arrived, and had a blast. Afterwards, I posted all the pictures online. The next morning, my sil Tara texted to accuse me of ruining her mother's birthday and said it was incredibly selfish to steal Carol's special place for myself. I don't feel bad. Actually, I think I was perfectly justified. But part of me wonders, did I go too far by canceling my MIL's birthday and repurposing it into my own party? AITA? Update 1. I showed Marcus Tara's text, asking if maybe I should apologize to his family. He shut that down instantly. "Absolutely not," he said. In fact, he told me he was done and we should just cut them all out for good. This is huge because his family, especially Carol, leans on him financially a lot. Marcus is pretty successful. He owns his company. So if he cuts them off, Carol and the others will have to figure things out without him. Tara, Rhea, and Henry are all serial job hoppers and basically non-functioning adults. I tried to talk him out of it, but Marcus wouldn't hear of it. I'm pretty sure there's more going on here than I knew. I noticed his family pulled away from him over the years, especially as our wedding neared. Marcus had told me he invited them over all the time for dinners, but they constantly bailed out. I always thought this was partially my fault, which is why I kept trying so hard to build bridges for his sake. I don't think Marcus can just stop caring about his family, so this quick decision seems really out of character. I feel like he's keeping something from me, and I want to understand. I don't want Marcus to grow to resent me or to feel like he has to choose between us. I hope he eventually opens up to me about what made him finally pull the plug. Update 2. I finally got Marcus to open up about what's really been going on with his family. When Marcus was 21, his dad passed away, and Carol had never worked. So, it fell to Marcus to provide. His dad left enough to get by, but not for long. Marcus worked round the clock to support them all. When he turned 23, he got outside investment for his business, and suddenly things picked up. Marcus started to thrive. But as his success grew, his family got lazier and greedier, leaning on him for absolutely everything. He didn't object, believing this was his duty, what his dad would have wanted. But they started treating his girlfriends badly, thinking any partner would pull him away from them and threaten their cash flow. When I came along, it became obvious they couldn't drive me off. I was too determined, and Marcus wouldn't let me go, so they tried to poison him against me. There were tons of fights and arguments behind my back because his family wanted him to dump me, but Marcus refused. Eventually, they used a different tactic, gradually distancing themselves and then guilt-tripping him when they needed his help, all while still taking his money. After this whole birthday fiasco, Marcus told me that while Tara texted me to make me feel guilty, Carol called him directly to emotionally manipulate him, demanding he leave me for ruining the birthday plans. That was his breaking point. Honestly, I'm appalled at how they treated the one person who took care of them for years on end. I'm glad I stuck with Marcus instead of letting them drive me out. I never cared about his money, just him. Learning the full truth, I'm amazed Marcus managed to keep this hidden from me so long just to shield my feelings. I fully agree with him now. His family deserves to be cut off. They are selfish, ruthless, and have zero respect for someone who's had their back since day one. Update 3. Today, Marcus finally called Carol and told her directly that unless she and his siblings changed their ways, he wanted nothing to do with them, and they'd have to provide for themselves from now on. Predictably, all hell broke loose. I could hear Carol screaming through the phone, even though he didn't have her on speaker. A huge argument erupted. Carol blamed me for everything, claiming I'd manipulated Marcus into cutting them off, trying to break up their family. She accused Marcus of letting his power and wealth go to his head and claimed I was fueling the fire. Classic emotional blackmail and manipulation, hoping he'd cave like old times. Marcus stood firm, defending me, and told her his siblings needed to grow up and find real jobs. They were adults. Carol's pushback only got nastier. But I wasn't about to let Marcus get railroaded, not now that I finally knew the full truth. When it seemed like Marcus was getting overwhelmed, I stepped in, told Carol frankly that Marcus's mind was made up and that if she and the kids didn't change, they'd lose him forever. Their move. Then I hung up and muted their contact on Marcus's phone so he could decompress without more drama. We spent the rest of the evening watching a movie and ignoring our phones. Update 4. Of course, the harassment didn't end with Marcus. After the movie, while Marcus did some work, I checked my phone and found a barrage of missed calls and vile messages from Carol, filled with cursing. She even dragged Tara, Rhea, and Henry into it. I wasn't surprised. This is exactly her style. I took screenshots for proof and ignored her, calmly replying to work emails. Then she called again, and I accidentally picked up. She began screaming at me, calling me a selfish, manipulative gold digger set on ruining Marcus. I didn't argue back, just let her rant. When she finally wound down, I quietly told her that every accusation she hurled at me was in fact what she was guilty of. That maybe she should take a good hard look in the mirror before pointing any more fingers. And I said I was happy Marcus was finally cutting out freeloaders like her and her kids. I hung up and blocked Carol and all Marcus's siblings on every app I could. No more chances for them to reach me. I haven't told Marcus yet. The last thing I want is to stress him out further. But if it keeps up, I'll let him know and make it clear they're out of our lives forever. They have no right to torment us. I just hope it doesn't escalate, like needing legal action, because that would be a lot for Marcus. But if it comes to that, I'll see it through. No one's steamrolling us anymore. Update 5. Almost 2 weeks have passed and a lot has happened. After I blocked Carol, Marcus and I had a peaceful dinner and went to bed, only to wake up the next day to Carol, Tara, Rhea, and Henry banging on our door, demanding answers. They were furious, so was I, knowing how stressful this would be for Marcus. I stayed in the room, despite them complaining that I wasn't family and had no right to be part of a family conversation. I told them plainly, it's my house, my privacy, and I'll stay right here. They launched into Marcus, hurling accusations that he was selfish, abandoning real family to please me, choosing a gold digger over his blood relatives. Marcus just sat there, red-faced and unable to speak. I knew he'd never be able to defend himself against that level of manipulation. He loves his family too much, even now. So, I told everyone exactly what I thought of them. They're leeches. Lazy and ungrateful, living on Marcus's generosity because they're incapable of taking care of themselves. That made them quiet down fast. They were too shocked to reply, so I told them to leave or I'd call the police for trespassing. They left, but not before Carol tried to hit Marcus one more time, saying his late father would be ashamed of him for treating his family like this. Another disgusting, low-blow guilt trip. After they'd gone, Marcus completely broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. It took hours to calm him down. I felt terrible for starting this whole mess with the birthday party, but in hindsight, maybe it was better that all this came out now, rather than years down the line. As soon as Marcus was calm, I blocked his family on all his devices and social accounts. Then we started looking for a lawyer, just in case. Good call, because a couple of days later, we received a legal notice. Carol claimed Marcus owed them a huge sum of money, stolen from his father's estate to fund his business. The accusation was completely false. Marcus never took a dime. He built his company all by himself. But since his company is a sizable one, the rumor got around and business took a bit of a hit. Fortunately, within 2 weeks, we were able to prove everything false and the tables turned. Now, Carol and the others have to pay us a hefty fine for defamation. Word got around, and Carol and the 3 kids have been shunned by the rest of the extended family. All of them are now desperately looking for jobs, scrambling to cover expenses Marcus used to pay for. I honestly think they deserve it. Marcus and I are now a lot happier, and I intend to keep things that way. That brings this story to a close. It's clear how deeply toxic family dynamics can spiral, especially when boundaries have been ignored for years and financial dependency is involved. It's a story about realizing when enough is enough, even if it means burning bridges to save your own peace. Here is a question for you. If you were in OP's shoes, would you have tried so hard to win over your in-laws, or drawn the line sooner? When do you think it's right to walk away from family entirely? Let me know your thoughts.